In a bustling town on the edge of a vast savanna lived a young girl named Zai. Zai was full of life, always running through the streets with her friends, her laughter echoing through the village. She had a loving mother, Amina, who worked hard every day to provide for her daughter. But even in such a close-knit community, there were dangers lurking where they least expected. Zai's family lived in a small house, surrounded by friendly neighbors, at least most of them were friendly. But there was one person in the neighborhood who stood out as different. Her name was Mama Kesai, and although she seemed kind on the surface, there was something about her that always made Zai feel uneasy. Mama Kesai was an older woman, always smiling, always greeting people with kind words. She lived alone, with no children of her own. Every day, she would sit by her window, watching the world pass by. Zai's mother, Amina, often spoke highly of her, calling her a woman of wisdom. But Zai couldn't shake the feeling that something wasn't quite right about her neighbor. Zai's mother had always told her to be polite and respectful to everyone, especially the elders. So, despite her unease, Zai would smile and wave whenever she saw Mama Kesai. But deep down, she always felt watched, as if Mama Kesai was studying her every move. One afternoon, when Amina had to leave the house to visit a relative, she asked Mama Kesai to watch over Zai. It was a simple favor, something that seemed harmless at the time. But this would turn into a day Zai would never forget. When Amina left, Mama Kesai came over to Zai's house. She was her usual friendly self, offering Zai treats and even telling her stories of the old days. But as the afternoon wore on, something strange began to happen. Mama Kesai asked Zai to help her with a task, to fetch a jar from her house. Zai, being the obedient child she was, agreed. As they walked toward Mama Kesai's house, Zai felt an odd chill in the air. There was no one else around, the streets empty as the sun began to dip low on the horizon. When they entered Mama Kesai's house, Zai was told to sit down and wait. But as she sat on the old wooden chair, she noticed something strange. The walls were covered with old pictures of children, all with faces she didn't recognize. "Just wait here, dear. I'll fetch the jar," Mama Kesai said with a sweet smile. But as Zai waited, the hairs on the back of her neck stood up. She felt trapped, as if something was wrong, but she couldn't put her finger on it. That's when she heard a soft click behind her. The door had locked. Zai turned to see Mama Kesai standing by the door, a smile that no longer seemed kind, but instead unsettling. "It's time for you to stay here with me," Mama Kesai said, her voice suddenly cold. Zai's heart raced. She knew this was not a game anymore. Mama Kesai had been planning something that no one could have ever expected. She wanted to keep Zai with her, to keep her away from her family. But Zai was not going to let that happen. With all the strength she could muster, she dashed to the window, pushing hard against it. It wouldn't budge. Mama Kesai laughed softly, almost as if she enjoyed seeing Zai struggle. But Zai was determined. She remembered what her mother had always told her: "Trust yourself. You are stronger than you think." With a surge of courage, Zai grabbed a broken chair leg and used it to force open the window. She squeezed through, barely escaping the clutches of the woman who had once been her neighbor. Zai ran through the streets, her heart pounding, until she finally reached her mother's relative's house. There, Zai told Amina everything that had happened. Amina's face turned pale as she realized what had almost happened to her daughter. They went straight to the elders of the village, and it wasn't long before they learned the shocking truth. Mama Kesai had a dark past, one filled with rumors and whispers of a woman who had once taken children and kept them locked away in her home. She had never been caught, but Zai's bravery had finally exposed her for who she truly was. So, parents, listen closely. Trust your children's instincts, and always be vigilant about the people around them, even if they seem friendly. Sometimes, the most dangerous people wear the most comforting smiles. You never know what someone might be capable of. Remember, all parents need to watch this. You won't believe what her neighbor did.